that if somebody knew that they would come forward.
We'd get tips, we'd get phone calls.
Most of them vague accusations, names of men who knew some of the victims. No one provides direct evidence, but the list of suspects grows.
When the bodies start to pile up and it's focused on the city of Springfield, you start to wonder and look at everyone. Everyone's a suspect. Everyone's guilty.
Every one of these murders was unwitnessed. And unwitnessed murders are very, very difficult to solve.
We did everything we could in terms of adding unlimited overtime, calling in all the experts in the law enforcement community,
including FBI profilers who review details of the 3 killings and develop a profile.
They said that he was fairly young, 30 give or take.
That this person could move in and out of this community of people very comfortably and was comfortable with them.
That he did a type of work that was precise and exacting.
He'll appear normal, maybe even boring.
That he lived and worked not too far from the area.
And he does not live alone.
It did come back that the killer was likely an African American man. We were really quite shocked at that because many of the serial killers in American history up to that point had been white men.
Profilers also know serial killers often keep souvenirs from victims, clothing, jewelry. They're uncertain if jewelry was taken from their 3 victims, but if so, finding it might lead them to the killer.
There was an escalating fear in the community, and there were warnings to exert extreme caution in who you come in contact with. The tension was so high that you could cut it with a knife when you walk through the neighborhood.
You want to catch this guy as quick as you can.
The public was frustrated. We as police officers were frustrated. It takes a certain type of person to be a homicide investigator, the type A, hard charging. Let's solve this. And we weren't able to do that.
You had 3 women dead in a short period of time. And soon there would be a 4th.
In Springfield, Massachusetts, police worry the winter murders of Loretta Daniels, Amanda Lawson, and Danielle Taylor are related. Detectives recovered 2 socks and a tissue from the 3 scenes, all with bodily fluids on them. But they need a suspect to compare them to.
This DNA, we knew that that was really going to be the connect.
Until they find that suspect, citywide fear.
Everybody was kind of on alert, especially women, you know, where they would say you just don't go out by yourself. Always try to have a second person with you, but it was a scary feeling.
Just 9 days after Loretta's murder.
Hey, Mom.
Huh?
wake up, Mom!
The killer claims a fourth victim, 43-year-old Rosemary Downs.
Once at the apartment, the son had let us in. There was no sign of a forced entry.
The obvious similarities were strangulation, raping, left at the scene, collected and analyzed were a piece of clothing that contained seminal fluid. Rosemary's body in her apartment from where Loretta was found murdered was, as the crow flies, maybe no more than a half mile.
Word spreads quickly through Rosemary's family.
My oldest brother called to inform us that she had been killed. That's when we all drove straight over to my aunt's house. I couldn't believe it. It was hard to believe that she was gone and that anyone would do something like that to her, because she was nice to... She was good to everyone.
Another senseless slaying of a good woman loved by many.
She was late for the party. She was awesome. We'd always go over there. She was either cooking or had some music on. She loved music. My brothers would rather go to her house in the summer instead of going to a camp, so she was great.
I'm racking my brain, and everyone I look at, I'm asking, are they capable of being that heartless and ruthless to kill someone and feed off of that? Just a sick, twisted, mixed up individual.
You know, it's like we got a serial killer running around in Springfield. It's crazy. It's absurd. Anywhere but where we live. No, that's crazy.
Who is he? Why these women? Why this winter?
Yeah, what's in this guy's mind? It started slow, all of a sudden it's speeding up the amount of homicides like this. And you're like, oh my God, you know, what is this guy doing? Why is he picking up the pace?
We were shocked at the appetite of this killer, that he could do this to these women and in no time do it over again.
We have to unite as a community. We have to stand together.
Neighborhood leaders hold meetings to discuss the case.
The community was very in tune with what was going on. The citizens were afraid.
You gotta help them get their peace of mind, because you don't want to live in fear. You want to do whatever you can to make them feel better.
Yet what they want is an arrest.
After my aunt was murdered, I didn't feel comfortable around any men. I couldn't take the bus or anything because I just didn't trust anyone, and I basically stayed in the house for a while.
Investigators agree with FBI profilers that the killer is an insider.
They said that he moved easily through his community.
So we did feel that this killer had access to the women and that he knew them.
We were working 20 hours a day. Sometimes we worked around the clock. Very long days in an attempt to solve these crimes.
Officers, they knocked on doors, they talked to everybody and their brother, and they followed up on every bit of information that they had.
There was one individual being surveilled 24 hours a day. This individual had a connection to 2, if not 3 of the murder victims. There was nothing forensically putting him at these crimes. It was just that he knew these females.
They follow him, hoping to spot him with trophies or other connections to the slayings, yet find nothing.
He submitted to a DNA sample. He cooperated 100%, and he was ultimately determined he was not responsible for these homicides.
Back to square one. a frightened community arms itself.
To have a rush of an influx of new weapons that were going into homes in the city, it caused me some concern too.
It's scary to be out at night now. I'm so fearful of my daughters right now. Tonight, when my daughter get off at 11 o'clock, I will escort her home.
I certainly understood why they did it. Certainly understood it, but it was not a good combination.
If we didn't catch this person, we expected another death down the road.
It had to be somebody that just didn't have a soul.
Somebody who's not finished killing and is about to rip a mother away from her children.
He's probably the worst serial killer in Massachusetts history. He's an ice cold killer.
Over 4 winter months, a serial killer has claimed the lives of 4 women, including Loretta Daniels and Rosemary Downs.
We all had families, and none of them did anything wrong to have their life taken away.
Someone that either has a switch that goes on and off, or is just plain evil.
This had to be a heartless monster. To snuff their lives out purely for his own pleasure was just stunning beyond belief.
He's got also has to be somebody that the women probably would feel comfortable with.
First time that I ever saw, and I was on the job for 30.5 years, such a horrific crimes that were going on.
8 days after Rosemary's murder, family members report a Springfield woman named Vicki Roberts missing.
You guys gonna be good tonight? Oh, come give mommy a hug.
The 37-year-old single mother was last seen leaving her daughters with a babysitter for a night out.
All right, love you.
She was a good mom, and I know that she wouldn't have deserted her children. There was no doubt in my mind that something evil had happened to her.
Once I found out that she was missing, I immediately thought that this could be the same person that killed my aunt.
Investigators need to find out who Vicki went out with that night and begin questioning family and friends. The next day, her car turns up nearby.
She lived in a large complex off of North Branch Parkway. She lived on one side, and on the exact opposite side was her car, left unlocked. There was some blood inside the car, smears. There wasn't much.
This is not good. Whether you are leaning toward there's a serial killer or not, this may have a bad outcome.
The blood might be Vicki's, or whoever grabbed her.
There was a hope that she was alive. There was that hope.
This could be their one chance to save a missing woman before she becomes another dead body.
She was missing. We knew we had a killer with a tremendous appetite. We beat the bushes.
In the area where she lived, it was a heavily wooded area, not too far. That was searched.
We had our canines out. We had our officers doing searches. We did everything that we could.
We didn't locate her.
But detectives do find some of the people she was with the night she vanished.
On the night that she disappeared, she was in the company of a couple females.